So I am back with this week's review of Ladies Who Listed Atlanta. This is episode 5. So we begin this episode off with the same way we ended the last episode, which is at Tiffany's grand opening party for her real estate firm. Robin is calling Kira over to kind of discuss what happened at her dinner, where they had this whole issue about Robin unfollowing Kira on social media. So Robin basically is telling Kira, she didn't understand how serious social media meant to Kira, until she sat down and met with some younger folks who basically let her know that it's serious and it's a big deal to unfollow people. So she was, letting her know that she didn't realize how serious it was. I'm gonna tell you honestly right off the bat, it's like she's giving this explanation of like she didn't know that, but honestly, I find it hard to believe that Robin did not know that people notice when you unfollow them. And then once again, let's not forget, it wasn't only Robin that unfollowed Kira. Crystal did too, which definitely stood out to her. But I feel like Robin was sort of minimizing the situation and felt to me like she was kind of being condescending. Something about her explanation and when her saying she had to sit down and speak to some young folks felt to me sort of condescending. And honestly, I want to know who these young folks were. Was it her kids that she keeps saying are the same age as Kira? I don't know. I'm just not really feeling Robin. And sometimes I'm noticing when she gets sort of in these situations, her explanations or justifications, just something about them seem a little off to me. And I could be wrong, but something about my spidey senses tells me there's more to it than this. Well, there is probably more to it because we still never got to the bottom of is why Robin unfollowed her. So as much as she gave this whole explanation about not knowing how serious it was, she never did actually say why she unfollowed her. And as I mentioned on last week's review, we saw that it looks like Crystal was explaining to Kira because Robin kind of started getting loud. That conversation, the camera sort of panned away from that conversation and back to Robin. So we didn't even hear why Crystal unfollowed her. So all of this started because she was unfollowed by both Crystal and Robin, and we still don't even know why. Here we are. And, basically, Kira was sitting here explaining to Robin as well that when she called her an older agent, she wasn't calling her old as in her age. She meant older as in the business, a more experienced, more mature agent. And, Robin was so quick trying to shut her down when she's explaining this, but Robin couldn't take the time to step back and let the girl talk, which is exactly what happened at the dinner because she was trying to explain that previously at the dinner. When she called Robin older, she was trying to correct herself before Robin jumped up and said older where and did all the extra that she did. That is a recurring thing here, like miscommunication all across the board because especially on Robin's end, because she's so defensive of everything. Like the girl didn't even have time to correct herself once she even noticed that Robin took offense or that she misspoke. She was trying to correct herself and Robin wouldn't let her. And even on this episode, when she's trying to explain to Robin what she meant, she was quickly shutting her down, but she actually finally got it out. And in true Robin fashion, Robin says, "Oh, so you're upset with me because of how I reacted, although you misspoke." And it's like, I thought you called her over here to try to hash things out, to sort of try to come to a happy medium, move past the situation, but she always seems to be sort of continuing the mess the same way she accuses other women of. continuing the mess. And, basically Kira's like, I'm willing to move past it. I'm willing to forgive and forget. I'm a woman of God, this and that. And here come Robin. Well, you wasn't a woman of God the other night. And it's like, lady, you cannot let it go. And that is why this whole partnership will probably be an issue, because Robin is dead set on always trying to prove her point. Sometimes it gets to a point where you just have to be able to kind of let things go and move on. You've said your piece for sure, but the lady is really trying to move past it, and Robin just keep on going back. So basically how that conversation ended, you could tell they both said they're willing to let it go, but they both seem like they kind of are off each other as far as a friendship goes, that anything they do will be strictly business. It really won't be anything past that. But yeah. So next we come to an episode where Crystal and Kira meet up and they're out for drinks. The last episode they bonded on them both being single from, sort of some long-term relationships, and they're just out here, single and ready to mingle. And Crystal expresses to Kira that she's reconnected with an old friend, and but the only issue or catch is that he is into polyamorous relationships. And so Kira's like, oh, okay, well, is that something that you are willing to consider? I noticed Crystal never really gave an answer as to yes or no, if she's willing to consider it or not. She just sort of was like, I'm willing to consider going to a poly party. That's at this point, that's what I'm willing to consider. So we don't really know. So that's when she extends an invite to Kira to go to the poly party with her, because she shared that this guy that she reconnected with, not only does he have a girlfriend, but his girlfriend is actually married. And Kira's just kind of like, whoa, okay. She's like, I'm single, ready to mingle, but I don't think I'm that ready to mingle. I don't think that's the road I'm trying to go down. That's not really for me. But yeah, I thought that was funny, because is it just me? But a part of me was like, let me find out Crystal low-key trying to hit on Kira. And I'm not saying that she is at all. But you got to watch situations like this, because folks be coming at you one way, and then next thing you know, they flip the whole script on you. I'm just inviting you to this party because I want somebody to go with me. The next thing you know, they flipping the script and they trying to bring you into their situation. I'm just saying, Kira better keep one eye open about whatever Crystal got going on. But she basically said she's not going to the party anyway, so there's that. But I thought that was interesting. And I wonder, because the part of me is like, if Crystal isn't really interested, why would she even go to the party? But then I can totally identify with the nosy side of me, because even though I wouldn't be interested, the nosy side of me would probably be like, well, let me go down here and see what they got going on, though. Even though ain't nothing going on with me, but yeah, I could understand that nosy side, just wanting to see what's going on. So, I don't know if, I guess we'll see if we get introduced to her friend, or if the cameras are going to follow her down to the poly party or not. That they should do. I want to see that for sure. So, after they have this conversation, we move to a scene where Crystal's dad comes. We get to meet Mr. Kimbrough. Crystal looked just like her daddy. He's just, sort of a lighter hue from her, but she looked just like her dad. I would like to see what her mother looks like, because right now it looks like her dad is winning as far as the looks goes. But she's telling him about the issues and things that happen with Robin, and how, she's having reservations about meeting up or being face to face with Robin again at an upcoming event that Kiana is throwing. And, he was just basically like, it'll be all right. Hopefully y'all will figure it out. So, I mean, he didn't really have a whole lot to say about it. He was more just sort of a listening ear and, just kind of letting her vent and, kind of spill her heart out to him. But did y'all notice she was asking him about properties and stuff? He's into real estate, it sounds like, and it sounds like he's probably maybe doing pretty well for himself. I don't think they said how many properties he has, but he did mention having properties and that none of them have mortgages. So I was like, well, that's a great thing, That's pretty impressive, So they both kind of got their real estate thing in common between her and her dad. She appears to come from, what seems to be a pretty, decent family. I mean, we don't know a whole lot about them, but her dad seems to be a pretty nice, chill guy. Nothing stood out as a red flag. He didn't seem to be drama or anything like that. So that was a decent little scene, getting to know a little more about Crystal and meet her family. We have a scene with Kiana and her husband go to sit down with the fertility doctor. And she shares with us that her and her husband have been trying to conceive. He has a 20-year-old daughter, I believe she says, but she currently does not have any children. I get the impression she's sort of chasing her career, and that's been her priority, because when the doctor was kind of talking about, how women in today's day and age tend to sort of put their career as priority and tend to put family planning, sort of on the back burner until they feel like they're ready while pursuing their career. And her husband, I guess, kind of gave the doctor a little look like it sounds like maybe that's what Kiana has been doing. So with that being said, she's currently being faced with some infertility issues. And she did express that, I guess last year, she had gone through the IVF process, doing everything, and then it got down to the end of it, and she said the doctors asked her, does she have a donor? And she and her husband were so confused because they were under the impression that they were going to use her husband's sperm to use in the IVF process. She said they had taken a specimen from him and everything. So I thought that was really interesting and really honestly confusing, because I'm like, how do you go through a whole IVF process and that to be confusion or miscommunication that they're not intending on using his specimen in the IVF process, and they're asking you, do you have a donor? But she didn't go really into any more detail about what the discrepancy may have been. I honestly, just for my own personal knowledge, I would have liked to have heard her go into more detail about that, because I'm like, how does that happen? I'm so confused. But like I said, nonetheless, they didn't. And she expressed that after that, they immediately just sort of stopped and put the whole process on hold and stopped going to see that doctor. So now them visiting this doctor is them picking this process back up and trying to see what they can do. And they did say, a year later, they are now open to considering alternative ways of becoming parents. Now, this sounds to me like before they weren't open to maybe adoption or whatever alternatives that may exist, but they said now they are open to other alternatives if that's what it takes. So I think that was, great to see and a positive mindset to have, because, women go through this every day, and it's crazy because, like the doctor said, women are born with the amount of eggs that they will have for the rest of their lives. And she says as they get older, their egg count will continuously drop. And I believe she said the most prime age to become pregnant is before the age of 28. But as we know in today's society, a lot of women are waiting late into their 30s to have children. So, that's kind of, sort of the downside of that, because, you kind of want to live life and do things, the way you want to do them. But it's almost like you always have to keep in the back of your mind, though, that I guess your biological clock is ticking, and really no one ever really thinks that they may be the one who will have an issue with conceiving, until you're the one sitting there going through this. And unfortunately, that's a lot of women's experience. So I really like that Kiana and her husband were open to bringing us into their doctor's appointment and sharing that with us, because I think that conversation would benefit a lot of women, who may be going through situations like that, or even a lot of women who just aren't really aware. It will bring awareness to the struggles that women can often have in trying to become mothers. And so, like I said, that was great of them to share that. Let's talk about these outfits real quick. Okay, Robin did a confessional where she had on this black sort of, it looked like it was a one piece sort of smock type of deal, but it had these long sleeves that were actually gloves. And then it had like a black necklace attached to it. I thought that was so cute. I was like, okay, Robin, she came with it. I said, that outfit is cute. Now, it wouldn't be for me because I feel like I would feel restricted and sort of, I don't know, claustrophobic with having having these gloves and the whole arms attached and not being able to free my hands. But nonetheless, it was cute on her. It was real cute. Now, on the other side, we come to Kiana's event where she is celebrating the 1-year anniversary of the Watson Realty Group. I didn't care for her outfit. Something about the florals around the neck, I didn't like that at all. Now, we done seen Kiana wear some real nice stuff. And I don't know, this one was a miss for me. But hey, if she like it, I love it. But so like I said, so we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary of her realty group. So while we are here, now we have Crystal and Robin in the same room. They have not seen each other, have not been around one another since they had the whole blow up at Robin's dinner. And you could tell they're both sort of on eggshells, having reservations about seeing each other. Just, that awkwardness of somebody being in the room that you really don't want to talk to, don't want to see, because you kind of got issues with them. So they're both kind of going through that. But surprisingly, they end up, seeing each other. They give each other a hug and greet each other. And, I believe Robin sort of says, I haven't talked to you. I haven't seen you. And Crystal is like, well, because you have me blocked. I've been calling you this, that, and the other. And Robin's like, I don't have you blocked. I don't know what you're talking about. Once again, it seems to be confusion often when it comes to Robin. And I'm really starting to believe that it's Robin. Yeah, I promise. I want to like Robin so bad. But Robin, I don't dig Robin's energy. I like her energy when she's dealing with her clients. But Robin is way different from dealing with her clients than what she is with dealing with these women. It's two different people. And I do not like how she interacts in this group. I'm getting confrontational all the time. It can never, I don't know, she can never just sort of let things go. I mean, to the point where Kiana asked Robin not to speak with Crystal at this event because she didn't want no mess. She didn't want the same thing to happen at her event that happened at that dinner. But as you can see, Robin is going to confront Crystal. And the episode basically ends in sort of a cliffhanger where you will see it's going to pick back up next episode, sort of like this previous episode did at Tiffany's event. The same thing's going to happen this week, where they're going to pick back up at Kiana's event and see how this conversation goes and how things transpire. Hopefully they can both be mature adults and not ruin this girl's event. I sure hope so, because, at this point it never goes well, because Krista always has the wrong words and Robin always got an attitude. So we'll see how things go on next week's episode. That's it for today's review of episode 5 of Ladies Who List Atlanta.